In this video, I'm going to tell you why I don't heavily color grade my wedding films, why I don't shoot in flat profiles and I don't shoot in any log profiles, and why I don't think you should either. Hey everyone, my name's Victor Fox. I'm a wedding filmmaker out of Vancouver, BC, and today I'm going to tell you all about how I get my colors to look the way they do, my colors and my contrast. One mistake that I see in a lot of wedding films is when filmmakers use 8-bit cameras to capture log or flat footage. Cameras with 8-bit color can only be pushed and pulled so far in post-processing. So when you take a flat picture profile or a log picture profile from a 8-bit camera and you start to pull it and push it, you add contrast, you add saturation in order to bring it back to a normal level so that you can start grading it. By that point, you've already degraded the image so much, you've already really pulled it apart, and that's when you start getting things like blocking and banding and weird colors and things like that. So I don't recommend wedding filmmakers or anyone with an 8-bit camera shoot in a flat or log picture profile. 10-bit, on the other hand, has a lot more information. If you do have a 10-bit camera, you can shoot log, you can shoot flatter because you have more leeway in post-processing. You can really pull and push colors around and the contrast around, and you won't get that banding, you won't get those color artifacts, you won't get that blocking. So you can think of 8-bit and 10-bit kind of like, I guess, well, it's just like a JPEG, right? If you have an 8-bit JPEG versus a 10-bit JPEG, you can do a lot more with the 10-bit JPEG than you can with the 8-bit. It's not as big of a difference as between like JPEG and RAW, but there is still a lot more information in a 10-bit clip than an 8-bit clip. I'm not saying you can't color grade an 8-bit video file, but I've just never seen it done in a way that looks as good as what you would just get out of your camera just normally. The color in the camera, the contrast in the camera has been designed by these camera manufacturers who have spent a lot of money to get it to look as good as it does. And when you shoot flat and then you try to get it back to that kind of starting position, you're ruining the footage. So yeah, just take full advantage of the research and development that went into creating the color and contrast that is already baked into your video files in camera. A professional colorist could definitely save a flat 8-bit file, but I'm not a professional colorist. I'm assuming you're not either. I don't have a calibrated monitor. This is just a regular video monitor. I don't have a balanced room with the lighting all balanced. That's not something I have. So I'm not in a position to professionally, bring back an 8-bit file from flatness. There's only so much you can do. So unless you're working with 10-bit, highly recommend you stay away from the flat picture profiles. You might be wondering about dynamic range. You're probably thinking, aren't I going to lose a lot of dynamic range if I don't shoot flat? And you will. You'll lose almost half the dynamic range, but considering the fact that when you're usually grading one of these log clips or these flat clips, you're bringing that contrast all the way back out anyway, and you're losing all of that information in the shadow and highlights. You're not clipping anything, you're not dropping some things right into black, but you're losing dynamic range when you stretch out a flat clip anyway. So it just makes sense to just start with a good contrast, a contrast that you want to work with from the beginning. That way you're not stretching things in the beginning just to get to a starting point. You can massage the clip after it's already come out of camera with a really nice color and a really nice contrast profile. Sometimes you do want more dynamic range if you're shooting an exterior or you're shooting a silhouette against a window or something and you want to get a little bit more detail. In those situations, I say, yeah, go and use a flatter picture profile. Don't use a log profile. Don't go as flat as you possibly can, but shoot with something with a little less contrast so that you can get that little bit more detail. But I would say for the majority of the shooting I do, I don't need to shoot in any kind of flat profile or regular profile. The regular inbuilt camera colors and contrast is perfect for the workflow that I have. And you can still color grade your footage if you shoot with inbuilt color and contrast. In fact, it's even easier and you get better results if you shoot with the in-camera color and contrast. That's hard to say because you're starting from a really good position and you don't have to stretch and pull and degrade the footage just to get it to that starting point. You're starting with a really nice looking image and then you can just massage it. You can just get it to where you need it to be because it's already basically there. You can just kind of push color over here, a little bit of maybe a lift in the shadows over here, that kind of thing. So you can definitely still grade your footage if you shoot with the in-camera color and contrast. But I would urge you not to spend too much time on the grade. Try to find a good picture profile and tweak the settings in your camera to get the look you're going for in camera. And in regards to color grading, try to not spend forever color grading your footage, because the fact is couples are usually not going to be watching your film on a calibrated monitor. They might be watching it on their phone or their television, and it's probably going to look very different to the way you graded it. So I wouldn't personally spend a whole lot of time grading my footage. I'd make it look great for sure, and I'd try to get that to look great in camera, so I'd have to do minimal processing in post-production to get it to look really good. And finally, I just want to mention one more benefit. If you shoot with the in-camera color and contrast right out of your camera and you get it to look really great in the camera, you get your look coming right out of the camera, so when you put it into your machine, it's all ready to go. You just have to do some maybe minimal processing to the exposure and the color. Just think of all the time you're going to save. You're going to save so much time in editing because you won't have to edit every single clip. You won't have to correct every single clip and then grade it. It'll already be corrected and basically graded, and you'll be able to save hours and hours and hours of time in the editing suite. And that's great because then you'll have a smaller backlog and you'll be able to shoot more weddings or just relax and enjoy yourself. So those are my tips for getting really great color and contrast out of an 8-bit camera. It's why I don't heavily color grade my films. It's because I don't have to. I get the look I want out of the camera and then I process it very minimally. And like I said, I think you should do the same thing. If you like this video, please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you're a wedding filmmaker and you want to see more content like this in the future. My name's Victor Fox. I'll see you in the next one.